Hi, my name is Mason Duchatschek, and I'm here today with Britt Guerrero. She's the CEO and founder of virtualnursepractitioner.com. And when I started my podcast, I really wanted to look for ideas that could help employers increase productivity, increase employee engagement, get the most out of their team. And I'm always looking for, one little thing that I can learn from somebody, whether they're a business owner, entrepreneur, consultant, an employee, manager. And I stumbled across one that I thought was pretty cool. It was a cool idea, and I wanted to share it with you. And so Britt Guerrero agreed to come into the studio today. She is the co-author of the Amazon.com #1 best-selling book, Patient Power: Inside Secrets on How to Take Charge of Your Healthcare and Wellness. So I appreciate you coming in today, Britt. Couple things I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind. Just tell us a little bit about your background, and then tell us a little bit about a thing we talked about offline, which was how a lot of small businesses can solve one of their, I guess, most pesky problems, and that has a lot to do with absenteeism and sickness. So anyway, Britt, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Britt Guerrero. I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been board certified for 6 years. I've been in healthcare for a lot longer than that, 20 plus years. So I've seen a lot of changes in healthcare. And so with the virtual nurse practitioner, I started that up to kind of address some issues that I saw as the healthcare changes have occurred.
So for those who don't know, what I thought was cool, and the whole thing that inspired me to reach out to her, was that she figured out a way to, I guess, go a little bit out. People talk about thinking outside the box, really to deliver a large part of healthcare in non-traditional ways that don't require the brick and mortar, and that actually, as a consumer or a business owner that has employees, saves all of us time and money because we're not stuck going through the traditional rigmarole. So can you tell people what service your company provides, who it's for, and how it works?
Sure, of course. Thank you. So just as an example, you are a smoothie shop owner,
okay,
and you have hourly employees, and they get sick. Well, they're hourly employees, so these mostly kids, a lot of times, they probably don't have a healthcare insurance plan, or you can't afford a healthcare insurance.
It's not always just kids either. It could be
Right.
young. So go ahead.
Exactly. So, and they get sick. So they don't want to lose their job before sickness. They don't want to lose out on the money, and they don't want to let their coworkers down by leaving that gap. Especially now that school's starting back up, or during the holiday times, busy times, they leave their teammates down.
And even for those that do have insurance, it's not like if they haven't met their deductible, it's not cheap. I mean, you're either talking about a doctor's visit and an appointment, scheduling appointments and whatnot, or a trip to urgent care, which is never cheap,
Right.
or that urgent, I would argue. But anyway.
Right. So, and that's the other thing with urgent care, I say, or semi-urgent care, because you walk in and you just never know when you're going to get seen. So how virtual nurse practitioner goes around that is that people can call us or go online and speak to a board certified nurse practitioner, and we treat 60 common conditions out there that you really don't need to go to a traditional brick and mortar place.
Like what?
Like pink eye, for instance.
If I was a smoothie shop owner, I don't think I would want someone representing my workforce or my business, particularly food service, with pink eye. I mean,
Exactly.
that might not have a good effect on my Yelp ratings.
Well, it's also, pink eye is also very contagious. So you not only could spread it to your fellow coworkers, but you could actually potentially spread it to customers.
I'm sure they'd love that.
No, that wouldn't rate very high at all. So, and plus, seeing somebody with pink eye, especially a thriving infection, they don't look very well. So they don't feel well. So that's going to kind of bring down the business itself too for those ratings and for repeat customers.
So when you say you can treat someone like someone has pink eye, I mean, what does a treatment look like from you?
So what they would do is either call us or go online. Generally, we start with the online, and then we call them or Skype, FaceTime with them And if it's something that we need to see a picture of, like it's over the phone, they can send us a picture. And I've treated many cases just like that, and I call them in a prescription to their pharmacy, and they can start the treatment right away. They don't have to leave work. They don't have to leave home. They can go and pick up their prescription. So they've saved themselves so much time away from work, time away from losing that paycheck.
So you'd actually think that would be more expensive if you can be that much more responsive and never have to leave your house and still get treatment. But I mean, like I've never been a big fan of going to urgent care because I mean you never know who's sitting there.
Right.
There might be someone there who's sicker than me with something more contagious than what I've got, and as if what I had wasn't bad enough, last thing I'd want is to acquire some more sicknesses. But the thought of being able to make sure I understand this. So what you're telling me is if I have a sinus infection or a ear infection or throat infection or pink eye or whatever, I can just reach out to you, give you the symptoms pretty much like if we were talking face to face, or if I went in and anything that you needed to see, I guess with my cell phone camera I could just take pictures and you could blow up whatever you needed to do or ask for more pictures or whatever until you could make a diagnosis and get me taken care of without me ever having to leave.
Correct.
And how does this compare price-wise to what I would get from, I mean, obviously cheaper than a urgent care, that's not hard to do, but like regular doctor's visits and stuff, because I mean, a lot of people, particularly, if I run a company, if I run a smoothie shop, for example, and I've got, a bunch of employees that are making hourly wages, I mean, what they would spend on not having met their deductible, what they'd spend on a trip like that might be several days worth of work for them just to pay to get well enough to go back to work. And that's a lose-lose situation. It's like, I don't have enough money to pay for this, but I don't want to lose my job. I mean, those are just a bunch of bad choices. So I think it's really cool what you're doing and how you're doing it. What questions should I ask you that I perhaps haven't so far?
Well, just to let you know, we do offer flat fees for individuals as well as for the employers. So those employers who can't afford a health care plan for their employers, we have a sliding scale for the amount of employees that they have, so that they can provide our services for their employees.
So that's kind of like a little sweet spot that's been kind of missed by the other healthcare systems, that, so to speak. So that's cool. That's kind of the thing I like about it. And if I'm an employee, just an individual, and my company doesn't have that, could I still call you and just get that taken care of?
Absolutely.
Is it a case-by-case basis?
You can have it case by case if it's something that you're really interested in on an ongoing basis. We can create a plan for them as well, for a monthly plan. So, but generally with these types of incidences, usually we just see it on a case-to-case basis for individuals. For the employers, it's a lot cheaper actually, because their basis of what they pay for each individual employee is way less than their premiums would cost them, or even their co-pays, or just a walk-in, someone off the street walking into an urgent care center. You're probably not going to walk out of there for less than $75 because they're going to do something to you that's going to make them more money. So we only treat what we can.
What do you not treat?
We anything that's complex, like blood pressure, diabetes, thyroid issues. So anything that's going to require a more diagnostic testing, x-rays, those kinds of things, broken bones, I can't treat that.
I would think that you might be a magnet for people who might want to abuse narcotics or something like that. If someone calls in with pain or something like that, how do you handle those issues?
We don't handle pain issues at all. We refer them. We also, if they're looking for a healthcare provider in their area, we are able to help them find one.
Speaking of areas that you provide, I did my homework, so I in advance of this discussion, I know that you operate in, was it 11 states now?
Yes.
And currently expanding?
Yes.
So let's just say that I'm this is realistic. Let's say I send a sales manager out and he's going to spend a week at a trade show in Chicago. Let's say I'm in St. Louis and I've got a sales manager and a team of salespeople, and it's the big show. at the convention center, and it's this 1 week that they're going to be seeing all of our prospects and customers, and they're all sick, and they're in Chicago. What do I do?
They can give us a call because we are licensed. We have board certified nurse practitioners in Illinois, as well as 10 other states. And like you said, we are constantly expanding.
Great. Well, I appreciate you coming in today and sharing with us what I think is a cool concept. I'm always intrigued and interested by people who are looking for and delivering newer and better ways of solving business problems. And certainly absenteeism is an issue for a lot of organizations, or worse, when people actually show up and they're sick and they're not as productive and whatnot. So anyway, I just thought this was an interesting niche, and you have an interesting solution, and thank you for allowing me to share your story with my audience. So Britt, thank you so much for coming in again. And for those of you who may be joining us late, I'll get an extra plug for your book, Patient Power: Inside Secrets on How to Take Charge of Your Healthcare and Wellness. And it is available on Amazon.com in Kindle version and print, correct?
Yes.
Great.
And also they can be sure to check out our website for employers and individuals. We'll have more information on there. And if you have a question, just submit the form and we'll get back with you right away.
Britt, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.